first, third, and fifth Wednesday meeting when the fifth Wednesday happens. So it's the first, third, and fifth Wednesday, and 8 to 9. That's the live show. Reruns every Tuesday, 6 to 7.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pablo Bello. Welcome to Oh Say Can You See? Tonight we are, this show is hosting Tiempo Latino, a show for the Latino community in West Michigan. Tonight we're going to talk about the rise of Bernie Sanders. We have several guests tonight. We have el señor Marcos Guerrero. How are you, Marcos?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We have Steven Dirt and Mark Z, right?
Right.
Good evening, Pablo. Thanks for having us.
Welcome, welcome. Well, let me talk to you about a little bit about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a senator of the United States. Is the longest serving independent politician in Congress and a candidate to be a president in 2016, this year. He was born in 1941. He started his political career as a mayor of Burlington, Vermont in the early 80s. He served 4 terms as the leader of Vermont's biggest city from 1981 to 1989. Sanders then moved on to the Senate. Well, first of all, he won a seat in the House of Representatives from 1991 to 2007. And 2007, he won the election to be a senator for Vermont in 2007 and was reelected in 2012. He announced his plans to run for Democratic presidential nomination in 2015. Sanders has been surprising everyone. He won in Michigan, where according to CNN and other sources, he was down for more than 30 points, some say 35, 37 points, and then he surprised everyone, winning the primaries here in Michigan. What can you tell us about Bernie Sanders, Marcos? Marcos, let me tell them, Marcos is a member of the Latino community here in Grand Rapids. He's co-founder of the Hispanic Center. For some time, he was involved with NAFTA, right, in Mexico?
Exactly. I was appointed to go to NAFTA conferences in 1992 and 1993. And,
well, Marcos, what can you tell us about Bernie Sanders?
Well, I think there's great news that came about in the polls today. He is trailing behind Hillary Clinton for 6 points, and that's significant. Things start looking much better.
Yes, a few days ago, Bernie won Hawaii, Washington, and Alaska.
In Alaska.
This was another big surprise. Hillary Clinton, her opponent, she's running, of course, obviously, for the Democratic nomination to be a president of the United States. It seems like she doesn't want to debate Bernie, Steven.
That's going to hurt her, because if she doesn't debate Bernie and his terms, she is going to lose a lot of more points. And the gap will be getting more narrower. If the gap is right now is 6 points between Bernie Sanders 43% and 49% and Hillary Clinton, that gap will narrow even more.
But Hillary has agreed to a New York debate. It's going to happen in Brooklyn before the New York primary. So she relented. For days she was reneging on her promise to have more debates. Bernie gave her the debate that she wanted in New Hampshire, but he's got her to promise that there'd be 4 more debates. She was saying that she didn't want any more debates until he changed his tone.
Did that happen today or yesterday?
Last night,
Last night.
Last night, this was last night.
Hillary Clinton's campaign relented, and now they are planning to hold a debate. But they got a lot of ridicule. The hashtag "toned down for what" was trending all day, and all over the media they were showing clips of her in 2008 taunting Barack Obama to debate, saying, if you want to be president, you have to be willing to debate anytime, anywhere. So
And
now she's going to do it. There will be a debate.
Well, Sanders is surprising everyone, right? Winning
Yes.
this.
6 of the last 7 last week. Americans abroad primary, he won 69 to 31%. He won Utah and Idaho, both by wide margins. Over 70% in Washington, Alaska, and Hawaii. The only state that he did not win in was Arizona, which is what we need to talk about, because Arizona is where we see a breakdown of the democratic process, a level of incompetence and corruption which no democracy can long endure. This totally undermines any faith in a free democratic electoral process when 2 million people have their votes suppressed. Let's talk about what happened in Phoenix and talk about the implications of that to the race going forward, because I believe that the Clintons have been doing a number of illegal things to suppress the vote. In Massachusetts, Bill Clinton, even though he was warned not to, went to 4 different polling places with his entire entourage and blocked people from voting for hours. These are felonies. It's against the law to do that, and yet he skated. Hillary herself did it in North Carolina. Well, now it's happened in Arizona on a huge scale, to the point where hearings and commissions and people who've had their votes denied are demanding an actual revote.
Well, one thing that happened was that there were 240 polling places the last time there was an election in the state of Arizona. Suddenly there were 60, so a lot had to be combined. It seemed to be a selective process to suppress certain voters from voting.
And that is being blamed on the Supreme Court's decision to not enforce the Voting Rights Act anymore. Arizona wouldn't have been able to do that without federal oversight just a couple years ago, but in 2013 the Supreme Court struck down
the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Right.
We have an article here from the Mother Jones, a respectable publication, where it says that 2 million registered voters who live in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Mesa, Glendale, and other larger communities were disappointed with the outcome of the voting.
Now Maricopa is a poor county, right?
No.
Largely Latino.
Is it?
Tucson.
It's where the Arpaio, the infamous Arpaio lives.
The sheriff.
The sheriff Arpaio.
Sheriff
Right?
Arpaio.
Yeah, Sheriff Arpaio.
Marcos, you were talking about before the show about the Trump awakening the Latino giant, right?
Yes, let's talk about
Can
it.
you talk a little bit
Well,
about that?
yes, I think that for years this been growing, a sleeping giant that has been growing slowly, but also they grow not participants, not actively voting in the selection process. Now, I'm talking about the second generation of Hispanics from the 27 different countries in Latin America. Those are new citizens, a lot of them from between 18 to 26, 20 years old.
Yeah.
They are ready to vote now. Trump was very crucial in trying to poke into this giant to wake him up. And now the giant is awakened and is ready to vote. And the Hispanic population is the second one biggest minority group in the United States that is ready to vote and never taken in account before or courted by any of the two different parties. Now, they're going to see the power that they have. And this is
Because Trump, right?
because of Trump, yes.
Because Trump.
Trump start poking that
insulting-
sleeping giant.
Insulting our community, saying horrible things.
Not only that, but labeling.
labeling our
profiling.
community,
Profiling, yes.
inciting to violence against Latinos.
Now this is going to be a great change.
As Bernie says, Trump will not be president because he insults women, he insults Mexicans, he insults Hispanics, he insults
Muslims.
Muslims. That's one point. In Michigan, Muslims voted overwhelmingly for Bernie Sanders. It was his margin of victory. And they have become active now too. And Trump is playing a role there as well. He's scaring them up. He's definitely a scary person.
Well,
I'm glad to see it happening, but I still think that no one should think that Trump is finished, because you can't underestimate the violence that white supremacists are able to visit. They want a race war, and they have tried again and again to start it. That's what Dylan Roof said he was doing when he shot the people in South Carolina. He said, I want to start a race war, because there's a whole culture online of people wanting to start a race war.
well, I think
Well, but I would like to mention that this number is very low, right?
Very few people want to start a race war.
It's just.
It's not all of his
extreme
supporters.
people, no?
Very
Like-
extreme people.
Like very, very, I would say crazy people who.
Well,
30% of Republicans are backing Trump. That doesn't mean that every one of them wants to beat up somebody, but
When they're out there, though, he's
when a
attracting
mob
them,
gets
yeah.
rolling, when Trump is there inciting violence in his crowd and going, yeah, beat him up, USA, USA. Trump actually, I heard Trump say, yeah, rough him up a little bit. That's the problem with America these days. Nobody wants to hurt anybody anymore. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the really interesting thing that's going on here is that it's both Bernie and Trump that have been remarkable. I mean, they've both been very surprising. They're very different candidates, but they have a certain commonality, and that is the economic dissatisfaction, the feeling of being betrayed by the economic elites in the United States, the lack of jobs, the lack of an apparent future. The difference between Bernie and Trump, I mean, Trump even has, a kind of protectionist and I don't think illogical way of looking at the economy, that would be attractive in a very anti-establishment kind of way, as Bernie does too. But Trump sprinkles it, with hate to get, the racist sort of, ridiculous white consciousness vote going on his side as well. That's a difference between them. But the similarity is interesting. And when Hillary is polled, after the Western primaries, in Alaska and Hawaii and Washington, CNN released a poll that was saying that, okay, this is Hillary versus Trump, and Hillary wins by like 5 percentage points in terms of who would you vote for right now, nationwide. But then if you take Bernie wins by significantly more than that,
Yeah.
like 10, 15, even 20% percentage points over Trump. And it's because we're in a kind of moment where people want a real change. They don't want Hillary as the establishment or anyone else in the Republican Party as the establishment, keeping things going with the exporting of the economy, for instance, the relationship with China, the continuous trade agreement, multinational trade agreements have not done well by the U.S. And so
Talking
this
about
is a similarity.
agreements,
Like
I would
NAFTA.
like.
Let's talk about NAFTA and TPP. And
I would like
such.
Marcos to talk a little bit about NAFTA. He was involved with NAFTA, right, Marcos?
Yes, I was involved with NAFTA. I was appointed by the governor to go in representation of Michigan, along with another friend of mine.
In Mexico City, right?
The conferences were done in Monterrey, Nuevo León,
Monterrey,
Mexico.
Nuevo León.
That started in
This is one of the biggest cities.
1992,
in Mexico.
and that was done for quite a few months, and at a time. We had to spend a lot of time. People from Canada, Mexico, and United States getting together to discuss the pros and cons of the NAFTA treaty and how the tariffs and taxes going to be done and what is going to be allowed and what is not going to be allowed, time frames, how to export some old cars from here to there, and when will the new ones will be allowed, and so on. There was a lot of work trying to define and put all those parameters in place before the NAFTA
But then
treaty
in
was done.
'94, NAFTA failed, no, in Mexico?
Not exactly failed. Now, you remember, you go back a little in the history, China opened its doors. So many of the companies that were outsourcing in Mexico, they moved from, let's say that they closed on Friday, and by Monday they were gone. They removed every equipment. They didn't even pay the workers. They just disappeared.
Who did
They
this?
went to China.
Who did this, Marcos?
That's what happened.
Like Whirlpool, for instance.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
companies.
Whirlpool.
Corporations.
Refrigeration,
And we're
washing
talking,
machine,
we're
cars.
talking this about because Bernie is against NAFTA. And,
Yeah,
this-
Bernie was against and voted against NAFTA. He's always been a principled opponent of these kinds of trade deals. He is for fair trade, definitely, and he always has been, but he has been an opponent. He was an opponent of NAFTA. He voted against NAFTA. And don't forget that not only did NAFTA fail in that respect, but there was also a financial collapse in Mexico.
Right,
after
the
NAFTA,
devalue, the peso
and-
devalue.
And Clinton bailed out the American investors, but left everyone else to.
It was el efecto tequila, no? Tequila effect, right? Oh, that was later.
That was
No.
later.
That was later, right?
Industrial scale American corn farming through NAFTA was
Yeah.
able to destroy thousands of years of Mexican corn agriculture
Subsistence
almost
farming.
overnight. And that really could be said to be the result of many people having to flee into the United States looking for work.
And not only
due to
the
this
corn
benefit.
industry, what else happened? What else happened there, Marcos?
Well, the companies moved out of Mexico overnight
To China.
and to China, outsourcing to China. So
Why?
Mexico is because it was cheaper.
Oh, cheaper,
Yeah.
cheaper
Yeah.
labor.
The
Cheaper
Clintons,
labor, yes.
Hillary and
The race to the bottom.
And then what happened, Marcos?
Then from there on, Mexico just kind of stay still for a while. Now, until recent years, Mexico is booming again with American businesses. American
why is
companies
this-
moving in
Why is this, Marcos?
because they devalue the peso again.
Oh,
Now,
cheaper.
you're talking about the exchange. The dollar exchange was in that time $12 and some cents per dollar, pesos per dollar. Now we're talking right now. We're talking about $19 to $20 pesos per dollar,
Yes.
almost twice as much.
This happened just a few months
that
ago,
means,
right?
What this means that the people are not getting paid nothing
Right.
for the hour of work. And
Yeah, like,
outsourcing, companies are outsourcing to Mexico again.
Ford, a company from Michigan, is moving one of his plants to Mexico.
The Focus plant.
For Focus plant, right?
What we
And,
see is a cycle of
It is.
driving down wages. In each cycle, wages are driven lower and lower through an inexorable pressure by advantaging international corporations in the way that they exploit labor. And even when localities try to protect their people through their own democratic governance, courts, and now the TPP, going beyond the courts and just having the corporations have their own arbitrations, can strike down local laws that protect workers and the environment. So it's a complete corporatization of the world, and that's what Hillary Clinton and Clintonism has stood for. They took the Democratic Party and they said, all right, we're going to keep the liberal core of the social policies, but we're going to outdo the Republicans in terms of doing favors to
Embracing
corporations.
the internationalization of the
Street.
economy, which, I think it's
Which
unfortunate.
was a betrayal of the American worker.
It's a betrayal of the middle class.
Yes.
True.
But what is
And of
what
the
is
Mexican
what is
worker,
what
obviously.
Bernie said about
corn worker
trade?
is
Like
gone.
when
Bernie-
you say
He's here now.
fair trade, what does that mean?
Well, I think the principles of fair trade are pretty well established, and the sorts of amendments that Bernie has been able to get into some of these traded deals, it means protecting the most vulnerable members of society. It means protecting the environment.
Protecting the worker.
Yeah,
Well, I
to
would-
be fair trade, I mean, there have to be laws in place to protect the most vulnerable, whereas things like NAFTA and TPP only give more and more power to the powerful.
Well, I do think that although he perhaps has not explicitly mentioned it, I think that the tariff walls that used to exist in the United States up until around 1970 would make perfect sense to reinstitute. It makes perfect sense to have a vibrant manufacturing base within the United States to allow for people to have real jobs in manufacturing rather than saying everyone needs to become high tech, which never happens. That those high tech manufacturing jobs go to China or Malaysia or wherever, chasing the cheapest possible labor because there's no tariff laws in place to protect domestic industry. It makes sense to reinstitute those, and this is one of the things that does make sense about things that Trump does say and help to attract some people who should be voting for Bernie, and maybe they're pulled along by the fact that they've traditionally voted for the Republicans, or they're strung along by some of the hate speech as well.
Right.
Well, I mean, like.
You can definitely use tariff laws to promote fairer trade.
Or
For
to
instance,
protect
if you
your
have
own
if you have a
industries,
corporation
to protect your own society.
That's moving jobs and exploiting workers in Haiti, for instance, they should definitely be paying a lot more in tariffs than someone who's creating good-paying jobs in.
Manufacturing within the U.S. I mean,
And who is the one that has benefit more from the tariffs being down? The Chinese.
yeah.
Plenty of
Well,
Chinese.
and as Bernie says,
Products.
the Wall Street investment class, because
Right.
they get to take their money, invest in very cheap labor, and essentially unplug a situation here in the United States, reinvest it in China, and for a few years reap fantastic profits until the Chinese, which they do, ultimately they say, well, all this belongs to us. Now, at a certain point,
We're
yeah.
getting close to the end of our
First
first
half.
half an hour. The next half an hour is going to be in Spanish, and I want to thank you for participating in our show. Thank you, Marv. Thank you.
Yeah. So they're going to put up the
Steven?
Bernie thing. So
Oh,
you don't have to
can we-
watch us.
Yeah, they,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Well, it's been,
This is
been fun.
some of the propaganda from Bernie, right?
Yeah, it's Bernie propaganda.
And well, this show is to encourage people to vote, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we have 7 more minutes, Mark.
Oh.
And,
okay.
and I mean,
We should
like,
take phone calls.
We
Oh, yeah, we could have a phone
Can
insert.
we take phone call?
Yeah, put the phone number up there. 'Cause,
And,
I'd like to hear what people think. This is a revolutionary moment.
You know-
Obviously, we haven't talked about the fact that Bernie is more electable than Hillary. We talk about how much better in the polls he is, and what I saw is he's up on Trump by 20 points. But Bernie can grow because Bernie can convince some of Trump's less stupid supporters
Yes,
that
absolutely.
his
Oh,
ideas
yes.
work, whereas no Bernie supporter is ever going to be convinced by anything that Trump says.
Well, like I had already mentioned, I can't emphasize enough, I think, how important it looks to me that Hillary versus Trump, Hillary becomes the establishment person who's caused many of the problems that the middle class or former middle class sees with the Chinese relationship, you know, the change, you know, in giving so much of the economy over to the
Right.
finance element. Hillary's all about the problems that these people have now. This
She's
is
a-
why their kids are on opiates and things in
She's
Kentucky.
she's a perfect target for Trump. Trump
Right.
Trump can beat
But
her, especially if
Bernie-
she ends up getting indicted.
Bernie
You take
beats
the-
him in the polls, you know, fantastically, and she barely squeaks by. So she's very vulnerable to him.
And she can be hurt because she's still under four investigations. Are
Well,
still
The
ongoing.
emails, right?
Well, the server.
The
is
election irregularities.
Yeah.
I think that Hillary Clinton does have her way of thinking reflects her background. You remember well, she was a Republican and helped in the campaign of Barry Goldwater
Yeah.
back in 1964 when she started her political career.
Yes, it's unfortunate. Like we have Bernie Sanders, who a few months ago nobody knew, and now he's winning all these primaries and caucuses. And it's unfortunate that now he's fighting against Hillary Clinton, another Democrat.
The strongest political
He-
machine America has ever seen.
He should be fighting against Trump, but
Well, he is
Well,
fighting
what can you
against
do?
Trump. He certainly talks about Trump more than he talks about Hillary. When he talks about Trump, he's unequivocal too. You know, I like the one where he said, "Trump is not my good friend. I haven't been to any of his weddings, and Trump is a pathological liar.
of
and
course.
he'll never be president because he insults Mexicans, he insults women, he insults
And we
Muslims,
encourage
and he insults our
people
intelligence."
to get out and vote November 6th. I think.
November 8th, but even more
November
than that, if you're in Michigan, you need to pressure the super delegates in Michigan, people like Gary Peters and Debbie Stabenow,
To support Bernie.
to support the people's will in the state of Michigan. You want Michigan, you know, tell them.
Yes. Well, thank you very much,
Thank you,
Mark
Pablo.
and Stephen.
Marcos,
we,
it was really nice.
we continue
Nice
with the
meeting you.
show. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
And I guess we are just
Mark,
continuing then with the show, right?
Oh, because I put up the car.
Yeah. All right. Oh. the- All right. Then 3 more minutes. We're gonna start in Spanish. I guess we should start now. Huh? Bueno. Oh. Oh, teléfono. We have a phone call. Oh, hello.
Hello?
How are you?
Can you
How
hear
are
me?
you?
Can you hear me?
No, we don't hear. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
A little bit.
Yeah,
How are you?
bad. Listen, I just wanted to say that I thought that the media, you know, this includes the cable news, which I listen to, Fox, CNN, and MSNBC, they seem to be favoring Trump in the Republican primary and Bernie in the, excuse me, Trump in the Republican primary and Hillary in the Democratic. First of all, I wondered if you'd all agree with me on that, and if so, why do you think that is?
Well, yeah, I've noticed that, like CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, of course, they don't have any. They don't give any coverage to Bernie. Recently, they start like showing Bernie more often
Right.
because
Well, they
of
almost
the
have to.
criticism they have received. Excuse me?
I say they almost have to, but I do have a theory, and see if you agree with me on this. I think the problem is that the higher ups, certainly the people that own these 3 cable networks, don't want their taxes raised. And frankly, most of these commentators on there, even the so-called liberal ones, like what's his name, Chris Matthews, Rachel Maddow, and all the rest of them, they're making good dough too, and they don't want their taxes raised. And I think they feel that if Trump or Hillary got the nomination, both of them, and one of them would win, obviously, and they just think, well, these folks won't raise their taxes. I don't think Cruz would either. Bernie certainly would, and Kasich might even raise their taxes. So I think that's what it's all about. These people just make a lot of money, and nobody likes to pay taxes, obviously, but these folks are making so much money, it shouldn't bother them if their taxes get raised a little.
Well, I agree with you. This could be one of the reasons for them not to support Bernie Sanders, who's promising to raise taxes on the rich. What do you think, Marcos?
Well, there's going to be, first, we had to put him in the White House
Oh, of course.
before we stipulate really what is coming.
All right. Well, thank you, Rich. Anything else would you like to say?
No, that's about it. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for calling, and our phone is on the screen, 459-4881. Call us with questions. Now we're gonna go in Spanish. Bueno, hacemos la transición en español. Bienvenidos a Tiempo Latino, hosted by CTV. Somos invitados de CTV y este es un programa, este programa se llama Tiempo Latino, pero está siendo, somos invitados de CTV, otro programa aquí en GRTV, Grand Rapids Televisión. Tenemos como invitado al señor Marcos Guerrero. ¿Cómo estás, Marcos?
Muy bien, gracias por invitarme y es un placer estar aquí con usted.
Marcos es cofundador del Centro Hispano aquí en Grand Rapids.
Del Centro Hispano del Oeste de Michigan.
Del oeste de Michigan. Él también estuvo involucrado en las negociaciones del Tratado de Libre Comercio, NAFTA.
Así es.
De América del Norte, en español, Tratado de Libre Comercio de América del Norte y NAFTA en inglés.
Así es.
Esta noche vamos a hablar sobre Bernie Sanders, quien es uno de los aspirantes a la nominación de la candidatura para ser presidente en esta contienda electoral. Déjenme darles una pequeña biografía de quién es Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders es senador de los Estados Unidos por el estado de Vermont. Es el senador que más ha servido de manera independiente y ahora es aspirante a la candidatura presidencial en el 2006 por el Partido Demócrata. Él nació en 1941, inició su carrera política como alcalde de Burlington, en Vermont, en la década de los años 80. Ha servido 4 términos como líder de la ciudad más grande de Vermont de 1981 a 1989. Sanders entonces saltó a la arena política al ganar un escaño en la Cámara de Representantes de 1991 al 2007. Se ha distinguido él mismo como uno de los pocos legisladores independientes aquí en los Estados Unidos. En el 2007 gana la elección para ser senador por el estado de Vermont y es reelecto como senador en el 2012. Él anunció sus planes para postularse como aspirante a la nominación de la de la candidatura para ser presidente de los Estados Unidos en el 2015 y ha dado la gran sorpresa. Ganó Washington, ganó Alaska y ganó Hawái hace unos días. El martes se disputan las primarias en Wisconsin.
Así es.
¿Qué nos puede decir de Bernie, Marcos?
Bueno, una de las cosas es de que la gran sorpresa del día de hoy es que las encuestas muestran que el porciento de diferencia entre Bernie Sanders y Hillary Clinton se está haciendo cada día más delgado. Quiere decir más cerca, hasta la fecha presente, Bernie Sanders muestra un 43% a 49% de Hillary, la cual quiere decir que se está acercando mucho más a cerrar ese espacio de diferencia entre la preferencia de los votantes. Creo que veremos que en estos próximos meses un desarrollo diferente del que hemos tenido en el pasado.
Claro, Bernie sigue sorprendiendo a los votantes, ¿no? Porque pues hace varios meses, casi un año ya, nadie lo conocía y de repente empieza a ganar las primarias, las elecciones primarias en varios estados aquí en los Estados Unidos. Gana Michigan, en donde le daban una ventaja de hasta de más de 30 puntos a Hillary Clinton, la candidata, la aspirante a la candidatura presidencial también. Se ha convertido en una contienda muy reñida, ¿no? Entre Hillary Clinton.
Así es. Creo que una de las apelaciones de Bernie Sanders es de que sus orígenes vienen de ser más humilde. Su apelación para el votante ha aumentado bastante. Creo que todos han hecho sus investigaciones acerca de Hillary Clinton y Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders ha mostrado un objetivo más claro, por decirlo así, y la apelación de Bernie Sanders en contra de Hillary Clinton ha sido más latente en los últimos meses, por lo cual creo que habrá una gran diferencia en estos próximos meses.
Bueno, Sanders, su popularidad se debe a que él, favorece a los trabajadores, favorece a los estudiantes, les quiere dar educación gratuita en los colegios comunitarios, las universidades comunitarias aquí en los Estados Unidos, promete incrementar el salario mínimo, promete una reforma migratoria para nosotros, para los latinos, que es tan importante.
Tiene bastante apelación con eso.
Que está atorada la orden ejecutiva del presidente Obama de noviembre pasado, en donde él anunció ayudar a los estudiantes indocumentados que llegaron cuando eran pequeños aquí, sin documentos, antes de los 16.
En este punto, permítame que lo interrumpa, creo que se dice una cosa en un lado, pero se ven las acciones diferentes.
Claro.
Las deportaciones no han parado. Las deportaciones continúan.
Claro, esa es una de las grandes críticas que le hacen al presidente Obama, le llaman hasta el deportador en jefe, ¿no?
Así es. Están ofreciéndole una cosa en una mano y con la otra lo están echando para afuera.
Sí, con una mano estrecha la mano y con la otra una puñalada trasera, ¿no?
Trapera.
Pero pues qué bien, pero Sanders apela al electorado latino, definitivamente.
Así es. Y el electorado latino está más listo que nunca para votar.
Oh, tú mencionaste algo muy importante, Marcos, que el patán de Trump había despertado un gigante, ¿no?
Así es. Cuando a ti vienen y te insultan y te ponen una etiqueta diciendo tú eres esto, tú eres lo otro, vamos a hablar del hispano, no únicamente del mexicano, aunque el título de mexicano, cualquier persona que hable español ya le dice mexicano.
Claro, en
Pero,
su profunda ignorancia, él,
Es
para él todos son mexicanos,
una
¿no?
muestra muy clara, una muestra muy clara de su ignorancia, en primer lugar, que si este hombre no sabe la diferencia de los pueblos latinos, ya ahí perdió conmigo. Pero más que nada, gracias a él, ha insultado a toda la raza hispana. No importa de dónde sean, no importa si son blancos o son negros o cafés o cualquier color, todos nos ha insultado.
Claro.
Parejo. Hasta eso, gracias a él, este gigante que ha dormido, ha estado adormilado por años. Vamos a decir, no estamos hablando de la primera generación.
Segunda
Porque la
generación.
primera generación muchas de las veces aún no son ciudadanos o no aprendieron inglés y nunca se registraron para votar. Bueno,
Problema.
dejemos eso por el lado. Tenemos a los hijos de ellos, las segundas generaciones que de arriba de 18 años hasta los 28, 30 años en este punto, que han ido creciendo despacio. Han estado ahí, en las sombras, sin
Claro.
verse, sin activarse. Ahora alguien vino que les picó, como se le llama allá en México, en el rancho, con una garrocha y un gorgús, para que te levantes, camina, échale para adelante, despierta.
Como los bueyes, ¿no?
Exacto, exacto. Eso se necesitaba, un insulto.
Insultos, ¿no?
Insultos para poder despertar y poder decir, momento, basta.
Se habla de millones de votantes
Así
latinos nuevos. No tengo ahorita el número exacto, pero se habla de miles y miles de nuevos votantes en
Vamos
estas
a ver que
elecciones.
los votantes ahora mismo, en cada familia, si hay 2 por familia, de arriba de 18 años, de las segundas generaciones, estamos hablando. Vamos a decir que hay 11,000 o 12,000 millones de personas ilegales. Vamos a ver que vamos a doblar esa cantidad, nada más. Vamos a decir que es por lo bajo nada más, un cálculo bajo,
Claro.
promedio.
Sí, se habla de millones de nuevos votantes.
Claro.
Latinos, hijos de inmigrantes que ahora son ciudadanos y que pueden votar y que pues que yo los animo a que voten por Bernie Sanders.
Se ha dicho que el hispano es uno de los grandes bloques que pueden votar y por primera vez esperamos que se vea en estas próximas elecciones de que pueden votar porque el voto es la fuerza.
Claro,
Es-
tu voto
es-
es tu voz.
Exacto. Y ya es tiempo de que se escuche esta voz. Ya es tiempo de que esta voz se haga ver, que esta fuerza se haga ver. Que las personas que tienen la fuerza, el derecho de votar y que puedan votar, que voten. Porque
Claro.
es la única manera en que en verdad, por primera vez nos van a escuchar y nos van a decir, cierto, tienen
Bueno,
la fuerza. Entonces,
De hecho, el voto latino le dio el triunfo a Obama.
claro.
O sea, más del 65%
Y
de
nada
los
más fue un segmento pequeño.
más del 65% de los latinos votantes votaron por Obama. El restante me parece que votó por los republicanos, pero más de un 65% que salió a votar le dio el triunfo a Obama. Fue determinante el voto latino.
¿Sí?
Si recuerdan las elecciones
Después de
pasadas.
estas próximas elecciones, lo que va a suceder es que te van a cortejar al voto latino los republicanos, a tanto como los demócratas, que van a ver que en verdad la fuerza está ahí, presente.
Pues de hecho ya están desesperados, ¿no?
Claro.
Porque
pero una de las cosas que yo podría decir acerca de las personas hispanas, que si en verdad yo soy republicano, no, señor. No, ¿por qué razón no soy republicano? Porque no tengo el dinero.
Claro.
Si te invitan a una reunión o a una cena, tienes que pagar $200 o $250 por un platillo para
Claro.
contribuir a las campañas. No gano eso en una semana, señor.
Claro. ¿Qué más hay que mencionar? Algo importante, la supresión del voto que estábamos hablando
¿En Arizona?
En el primer segmento de este programa. que es en inglés, nuestro amigo Steven Dors mencionó la supresión del voto en Arizona.
Así es.
Que aquí tengo un artículo de Mother Jones, una publicación bastante respetable, donde dice que 2 millones de votantes registrados en Phoenix, Scottsdale, Mesa, Glendale y otras grandes comunidades estuvieron decepcionados, sobre todo en el condado de Maricopa, donde está el
sheriff Arpaio.
el sheriff racista Arpaio, que no quiere a los mexicanos, ¿no? Bueno, que es un abusivo, abusa de los presos, los castiga de una manera inhumana.
Así es.
Y
Pero es con
hay
todos los
quejas
hispanos.
ahorita, hay procesos legales en contra de las anomalías que existieron en las votaciones.
No nada más él, pero la gobernadora de ese estado también se ha dicho mucho acerca de ella.
Claro, y aquí en este artículo de Mother Jones dicen que en Arizona tiene un historial de estas anomalías, ¿no? Se llama The Election in Arizona was a mess. Las elecciones en Arizona
Fueron un desastre.
Un desastre, ¿no? Y ahí bueno, no sé si ya esté la traducción, no, pero si usted sabe inglés o tiene un amigo que habla inglés, pues que le lean este artículo para que se enteren de las terribles anomalías que sucedieron en los lugares donde la gente fue a votar.
Las anomalías no únicamente ocurren, ahí es donde se ha hecho lo más grande todavía, pero aquí en Michigan también sucedieron ciertas anomalías que muchas
Claro.
personas no encontraban, no votaron porque se acabaron los votos o porque les dijeron que no podían
Las
votar.
boletas, ¿no?
Sí, la boleta para votar.
Sí, fue impresionante, ¿no?
Es
Había
increíble de
unas
que
filas
vamos a
enormes
hablar
para
de la
votar.
violación a la Constitución de los Estados Unidos.
A ver, menciónanos,
25. Hablamos
Marcos
de
nos
la
trajo
Constitución.
información sobre los derechos constitucionales, ¿no? Que tiene
Sí.
la gente.
Claro, en el artículo 25 tenemos
En el artículo 25 de la
la
Constitución de los
sección
Estados
1,
Unidos.
sí, dice que no puedes hacer eso, tú no puedes denegarle el voto con estas artimañas a los votantes.
Claro.
Y es una
Es
franca,
inconstitucional.
es inconstitucional porque está en la Constitución y también es una violación a los derechos.
Claro, los derechos civiles y cuando violas la Constitución se convierte en en una violación a tus derechos legales, ¿no?
Exacto.
Que ya implica ahí delitos mayores o delitos menores dependiendo del rango del delito que se cometió ahí, ¿no?
Pero vamos a decir de vuelta, la desesperación del Partido Republicano a estas alturas es bastante visible, es palpable, se puede ver.
Sí, se están hasta pegando hasta con las ollas, ¿no? Como digamos hasta con la basenica están dando, como
Así
dicen
es.
allá en el DF. Porque
Pero-
no, están desesperados, tienen al patán de Donald Trump que parece que va a ganar las elecciones primarias. Él va a ser su candidato, pero están echando a andar una maquinaria impresionante los republicanos para
Pararlo.
para negarle la nominación. Y de acuerdo aquí a las pláticas que hemos tenido con otros compañeros aquí, dicen que se está deshaciendo Trump, pero falta que sea verdad, ¿no?
Claro, tenemos que verlo. Creo que esto es bastante improbable de que él pueda llegar a ser presidente de los Estados Unidos.
¿Quién sabe, Marcos? A mí es un coyote, este tipo.
Sí, pero tenemos,
peligroso, ¿no?
pero tenemos el voto, tenemos la fuerza, tenemos el poder.
Claro,
y tenemos
claro.
que ejercitar ese poder.
Claro, salgan a votar. Este programa es para animar a la gente que salga a votar. Este es uno de nuestros objetivos de este programa. No importa si usted es demócrata o de otro partido, salga a votar, ejerza su su derecho al voto. Si usted es ciudadano de los Estados Unidos y es elegible para votar, vote. Vote, porque estas elecciones
Esa es la única manera en que se va a escuchar su voz.
son históricas.
Esa es la única. Esta elección va a ser histórica.
Claro.
Es histórica en primer lugar porque nos están poniendo para abajo, nos están amenazando la tranquilidad de Estados Unidos. Muchos de los que venimos acá, venimos corriendo de un país en revolución, venimos corriendo de persecución, de violencia, de muchas maneras. Y si en primer lugar es para garantizar la tranquilidad doméstica de este país.
Claro, aquí uno vive muy tranquilo, ¿no?
Tenemos
No se ven los niveles de violencia que se vive en México.
No, porque aquí tenemos derechos. Aquí está
No.
la Constitución que le garantiza esos derechos.
Uno sale a la calle a las 3, 4 de la mañana y no se preocupa de que lo van a
Así es.
asaltar o va a pasar alguna tragedia en su vida. Está uno en su casa, tranquilo, seguro. Y esperemos que continúe así, ¿no?
Claro, tenemos que continuar de esta manera.
Ah,
Si venimos a un país a contribuir,
Claro. Bueno, vamos a hablar un poco de la... Tú estuviste involucrado en el Tratado de Libre Comercio, ¿verdad? De América del Norte.
sí, así es. O sea, que se empezó en 1990, 91.
Lo
92
menciono
y
porque Bernie Sanders está en contra de estos tratados de libre comercio injustos, ¿no? Pero tú, en cierta forma, cuando se iniciaron las negociaciones para el Tratado de Libre Comercio, se esperaba que México entrara al primer mundo, ¿no? Con estas...
Ese era el intento. México no estaba preparado para esto.
Pero
la
cuéntanos, Marcos.
La infraestructura de México no estaba preparada. Bueno, durante el 90-91 se llevaron a cabo las conferencias internacionales de Canadá, México y Estados Unidos. Los empresarios estuvieron presentes en Monterrey, Nuevo León. Y se llevó a cabo todavía conferencias todos los días para hablar de diferentes maneras en lo que se iba a llevar a cabo, cuáles iban a ser los aranceles, las tarifas, los tiempos en que se iba a permitir entrar, por ejemplo, carros viejos a carros nuevos, para que no fuera México un lugar por
inundado,
decirlo así, inundado como un basurero.
Coches extranjeros.
De autos extranjeros viejos y usados. Entonces tuvo que determinar todos los tiempos, cómo iba a suceder cada cosa a través de los años.
Tú inclusive me dijiste que estudiaste economía y políticas...
Administración empresarial.
Cuando estabas en estas negociaciones, te pusiste a estudiar sobre las políticas económicas, ¿no? Que existen.
Sí, claro. Claro, era bastante necesario. El Tratado de Libre Comercio se llevó a cabo, dio principio el día 1 de marzo de 1993. En ese día precisamente nosotros, mi familia, nos movimos hacia México y de ahí para adelante estuvimos en Monterrey, Nuevo León, por varios años, tratando de llevar a cabo diferentes negociaciones, diferentes clases de cosas, el negocio. Importando carnes y productos derivados de carne.
De aquí de Michigan, ¿no?
De Michigan para México.
Monterrey.
No únicamente para Monterrey, pero para
Otros
las
estados.
La costa del Golfo de México y la costa del Pacífico.
Pues prácticamente todo México, ¿no?
Sí, claro.
¿Qué te iba a mencionar? Bueno, pero y después me cuentas que se viene un desastre, ¿no?
Claro, con la devaluación del peso.
Se devalúa la moneda mexicana.
Así es, se devalúa la moneda mexicana, se desaparecen muchas de las compañías americanas, se desaparecen de la noche a la mañana y dejan hasta la gente sin pago. Después,
se fueron a China, dices,
Se
¿no?
fueron a China, porque
Se
se
fueron
acuerda
a
bien
China.
también que China, el tratado con China empezó en ese tiempo también, en el 94.
Y
95.
fue precisamente Bill Clinton quien
Exacto.
que lo negoció, ¿verdad?
Así es.
Bueno, pues ya
las
saben,
grandes compañías se
ya
fueron
casi ya nos
outsourcing.
vamos, tenemos a menos de 4 minutos. Salgan a votar este 8 de noviembre, salgan a votar por Bernie Sanders, bueno, si les gusta el candidato, ejerzan su derecho al voto, hagan sentir su voz. Esta es la única manera que podemos influir a los políticos de aquí de los Estados Unidos, la única manera que se puede lograr que se pase una reforma migratoria en el Senado y en la Cámara de Representantes, la Cámara Baja y la Cámara Alta. Si no vota usted, olvídese, ¿no? No va a pasar nada y nos van a seguir agarrando de puerquitos, ¿no?
Bueno, el peligro de un fascismo,
Claro.
de un nuevo Hitler, Adolfo Hitler, está presente.
Claro,
Tenemos que tomarlo en serio, porque en primer lugar, esta persona, su manera de pensar, usted está invitado a votar, pero no a participar en la sociedad.
Claro, tenemos Donald Trump es un demagogo, un payaso como Mussolini, ¿no? Hace poquito estuvo viendo un documental de la Segunda Guerra Mundial y si ustedes se los recomiendo, está en Netflix. Se llama La Segunda Guerra Mundial a color. Está en inglés, pero le puedo poner subtítulos, yo creo. Y véanlo, vean el principio y hablan de este señor Mussolini, que era un payaso, igual que Donald Trump. Y me imagino que hasta los ademanes le copia porque hace los mismos ademanes que él.
Pero nunca hay que tomar una amenaza de este tipo tan a la ligera.
Claro, es un payaso peligroso, ¿no?
Así es.
Y nos puede
Tenemos
hacer
mucho que perder. ¿Esto es lo que usted quiere heredarle a sus hijos, a sus nietos? ¿Dónde los vamos a dejar?
Claro, hay que
Tenemos que pensar en la familia.
en el futuro. Bueno, ya nos vamos, unos cuantos minutos, me imagino, o menos de minutos ya. Gracias, Marcos, por venir al programa.
Muchas gracias por haber invitado.
No se olviden, estamos aquí en la internet, en granrapistiempolatino.com, también ahí escribo notas. También estamos en Facebook como Gran Rapids Tiempo Latino. Estamos en YouTube, búsquenos como Pablo Bello en Tiempo Latino. Gracias a al equipo de producción aquí